I have a dream, fourscore and 7 years ago, and it was we the people, not we the white man, are the beginning of three famous speeches that all use rhetoric to support their points. We're living in a time in history where there are disagreements on almost everything we do or say. Using rhetoric in our arguments will help convey a convincing argument as well as benefit your personal, public, and professional lives. So, what exactly is rhetoric? Rhetoric is an art of effective and persuasive speaking or writing. It was designed to have a persuasive effect on the audience, but oftentimes the message can lack sincerity. Rhetoric was considered to be a very important school subject for students in the 19th century. This might be why famous figures of the past seem to be well spoken when comparing them to modern day celebrities or political figures we have. People will sometimes use rhetoric negatively when talking about public speakers, and oftentimes it will be used negatively when talking about politicians, when they're able to write a good speech but doesn't exactly have the good ideas to back up their speech. Advertisements use a subtle form of rhetoric to persuade you to buy a certain product or support a political candidate that could be running for office. Once you're aware of that, you can analyze the techniques that the company is using on their advertisements to persuade you into taking that action or not. You can ask yourself questions that will help you figure out what they're trying to persuade you on. Are they using your emotions to persuade you to give money to a charity? Or are they showing endless pictures of food to stimulate your appetite? Or are they presenting a logical argument that speaks to you and your beliefs? When bringing you back to the very beginning of the study of rhetoric, in ancient Greece, Aristotle believed that rhetoric used three primary modes of persuasion, which were ethos, logos, and pathos. Ethos, also called the ethical appeal, persuades you on the individual's topic due to their background and credentials. Their experience should convince you that what the speaker is saying is credible and accurate. For example, you'd be persuaded much easier on whether or not you should get a major surgery from a medical doctor compared to a friend on Facebook. Logos, or the appeal to reason, appeals to the audience's logic or reasoning using facts or statistics. Logos is commonly used in a courtroom by lawyers to state their case. They will make statements to the jury using logos by saying something like, "We not only have video surveillance of the suspect, but we also have his fingerprints on the scene." Using complex data can also be used to trick the audience into thinking that the presenter knows what they're talking about. It can make the audience think something like, "Well, he knows his stuff, so he must be telling the truth." There are two ways to present this strategy, which are inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning starts by presenting the facts to the audience and then drawing a conclusion or generalization from those facts. And deductive reasoning begins with the generalization or conclusion they are trying to make and then state the facts to support their arguments. Lastly, pathos, otherwise known as the emotional appeal, focuses on the audience's emotional morals. Oftentimes, it will bring out feelings like anger, heartbreak, pity, or passion. An example would be someone saying this new security system might be very pricey, but can you really put a price on protecting your family? Or we must shut down the company to prevent anyone else from getting hurt. That being said, we should only use emotional appeals if it supports the claim you're trying to make. Emotional appeals can distract from the real issue if not communicated properly. You will oftentimes use more than one appeal to get your point across to your audience. Maybe you are not an expert in that field, but you can cite credible professionals to validate the information, all while using an emotional appeal to communicate why you feel passionately about the topic and why they should as well. Rhetoric matters because it enhances your argument. If someone is able to persuade people to look at their point of view, they can be more successful in all types of academic subjects as well as career-wise. Like, for example, being able to write a persuasive resume to convince an employer that you're the right fit for the job. Rhetoric will help you succeed in more ways because of how largely we use rhetoric when presenting ourselves to another person. Understanding how to use rhetoric will help you become more aware of what goes into creating a creative and persuasive argument. Capturing your audience's attention and holding onto it while communicating your important ideas about the subject at hand will ensure that you get the message across that will ensure you that you are getting the message across to your audience.